Hey YouTube land, Tag Hunters here doing another action figure review, and today we are looking at a 30th anniversary Street Sharks figure. Now I've only managed to pick 2 of these figures up from the line. So the original, was it Ripster, I think his name is, the kind of like the leader of the group of the Street Sharks, and the villain of the group, the big bad guy, and that is Dr Piranoid here. So we'll have a quick look at the box. So he comes in the standard box that these new 30th anniversary Street Sharks come in. So you have his name down in the corner. It is interesting to note that it is cardboard, but the insert is solid plastic, and it's done like a shark cage, which is pretty cool. The only kind of annoying part of that shark cage thing, or theme, now is, well, I'll have a look at the actual cardboard part first, and then we'll have a look at the actual plastic piece of the cage. But you can see it does say he has a spear-fired or spring-fired spear gun. Then he has a try me, I mutate. Then it shows push down and release the spring for the fire the spear. There's a try me button for his mutate feature. And then on the back of the box, he shows the other characters that have been available. So this is part of Wave 2. So Wave 1 you had Slash, Jab, and Ripster. Streaks and Big Slamoo and Dr Piranoid were all part of Wave 2. There is supposedly a Wave 3 coming. The line hasn't been cancelled. It's not dead in the water, pun intended. There is supposed to be, was it Moby Lick and that the lobster looking villain guy, and a couple of other kind of original Street Shark figures being revamped into this kind of upcoming line, or this updated line. So this has a little brief bio. Name Dr Piranoid, hook, motto by hook or by crook, changed himself into a half-human, half-piranha monster, constantly strives to make the world match his warped, wicked vision of made-to-order sub-creatures. Street skills, heavy into physical and biological sciences, designs genes for every occasion. His vile creations are unparalleled in criminal history. And then favorite feast is shark tacos, shark steaks, and shark a la king. So he has a penchant for shark-based diet, or he has a shark-based dietary requirements from the looks of it. I never really got into the cartoon that this was designed around, and I did like the original figure line, but I never picked up much of it, or any of it at all. It was kind of after, it was like after my time. I was in my late teens, I was out of collecting figures, but I did appreciate the kind of design aspects. They were kind of trying to cash in on the whole Turtles thing, with a group of mutated heroes versus groups of bad guys. So what I'm mean about the cage piece, I'll showcase it here. I might as well do it while I'm doing this part of the review, and then we'll have a look at the figure himself. So if you take the box apart, I do recommend opening it from the bottom tab as opposed to the top, because there is a hook piece that sticks out through the top tab, so it's easier just to take it out. This is all kind of clicked together in individual sections. The one annoying thing is there is no bottom floor piece. It would be nice if there was a click-in floor piece. It is designed that you could make something that would click into place, like a solid, well, I suppose since it's supposed to be like a shark cage, it wouldn't be a solid floor piece. It'd be kind of this kind of type cage piece again. But he literally comes looking like that in the packaging. There is a plastic tray as well that you have to free him from, and it is just something to note. So without further ado, while I'm trying to mess around with this, we'll pause the video here. We'll have a zoom in on the dude himself, and we'll have a better look at the figure within. So here's a little closer look at Dr Piranoid himself. Now I do have him in his sort of default human appearance. I do love the look of this guy. He's basically a evil scientist in a diving suit, like a, not like the Diving Bell style suit, but it has that kind of, it almost looks like the old, or not the original, but the second version, excuse me, the second version of Deep Six, or yeah, the G.I. Joe character Deep Six, where he had like a more diving, you know, like a classic diving suit with the kind of more armored upper weight system on the top, and it didn't look like the super fancy suit that he had. They're just kind of like a mishmash of that. He does have the grey kind of undersuit. He has like the heavy weights, and you can see the zipper on the front of the suit that holds everything together. He has this removable hook piece, which is kind of nice. So he does have kind of one detachable weapon. If I can just get it out of his hand. If he play ball with me. Boom. So he does have this, I think it's supposed to be like a firing hook. Like a retractable hook. Like that looks like where the line would fit in, but it doesn't actually fire out. This one is the non-firing side. But you can rotate the hook piece itself around, which is kind of nice. But that frees up his arm for a good lot of articulation. Now he does have this mechanical arm on his right side, so it doesn't have the same articulation. But he doesn't have a neck joint per se. He does have what is part of his action feature gimmick. So if I swing him around to the back, you can see that design aspect continues on. So this is all cast in that neon yellowy green plastic, where he does have some paint apps. So down here, this is actually painted on. These are actually a separate piece that are over his foot, and I believe his feet are actually cast in the greeny color, and the paint app is for the gray. So he does have that. He does have some silver paint apps, but as I said, if I push the button here, this is what does his action feature gimmick. So you have Piranha, Human, Piranha, Human, Piranha, Human, Piranha, Human, Piranha, Piranha, Piranha. You can do that as many times as I can. So he does have a kind of more humanish face. It is cool to see that he does have that seashell eye patch, which does cross over onto his piranha head. I can't remember if he had that in the cartoon. I believe he had just like a standard monocle. I think it's only the figure has that kind of eye patch thing. But it is what it is. But for his height, actually I had the tape measure in my head ready to go, and I kind of just got sidetracked. For his height, he's fairly tall for a figure. He's nearly 6.5 inches, I'd say. Is that a 6? He's around 6 inches, thereabouts. So he's quite tall. Normally these figures are in the 5.5 scale. He is kind of a taller scaled figure. Just for a comparison, I'll just grab... who's the easiest one of these guys to grab without knocking everything over? Hopefully Faker. Because this is another... This is kind of the Origins line, so you can see he kind of scales with Faker in the sense that to head height, but it's the body armor that makes him taller. So like all this gives him extra height. So about the same height human to a Masters of the Universe Origins human character. So he is that. So we'll move that aside and we'll get on to articulation. So he doesn't really have anything in the neck. He does have that swivel. You can kind of half press it, so he is looking to the side a bit, but it kind of defaults back to that. You can do it with the human head better. You can kind of get him to look off to the side, which is kind of handy because it is the side that has the weapon. So if you want to look like he's firing in a certain direction, you can kind of angle him like that he's firing his missile off in that direction. He does have the firing missile function, which we will have a look at in a minute. We'll have a look at his more regular arm first. So his arms, because they both have the same kind of ball joint, you can do a T-pose that much. His more regular arm, it is a very tight ratchet joint. You might be able to hear it online. You can move arms forward and back. Now you will be getting this upper shoulder armor piece will be getting in the way, so you can't really do a full 360 on the arm. He does have a single jointed elbow with swivel, and then he has a rotating wrist that is on a ratchet as well, and it has a hinge. So if you don't have that hook thing in his arm, you get a good range of movement on the kind of the bare. It's not really a bare arm because it's covered in that kind of undersuit, the diving undersuit. Because you can see there's kind of technical features up here on the shoulder as well. But for his mechanical arm, it's a little bit more limited. You just have a hinge. There is no swivel in the hinge. I kind of wish they had incorporated a swivel. Obviously, they wouldn't have been able to do it in the upper bicep, but maybe just at the elbow, it would have been nice to still retain that kind of swivel joint, because it kind of limits him to how he can fire his weapon. So, in fact, we'll demonstrate his weapon firing capability by using Faker. Sorry, Faker, you're going to be a guinea pig and see if he can knock you down. So, I do have Ripster, but he's not with me at the moment. So, he does have this little press button on the back of his harpoon and just fires. And as you can see, it's not really strong enough to take Faker down. It does go in one direction, I believe. So I'll try and fire it again, see if we knock him in the head. Oh, that was a heck of a shot. So we'll move poor Faker out of the way. There is a, it is designed to fit in one way. This is where the spring clips in, and if you look at the front, there is kind of 3 prongs on it, so it only fits in the one way on the weapon. He does have this little radar laser gun looking thing as well that does rotate. It doesn't fire out and it doesn't extend, but it is rotatable, so it is worth mentioning that. Again, he doesn't have kind of waist articulation, but what he does have is upper diaphragm, so it gives him a good range of movement, so you can get him in some good poses. So you can, as I kind of get him look like he's stomping forward and firing at the same time. And because you can kind of twist his normal head a bit, it looks like he's looking in the direction he's looking on. Not so much with the fish head. The fish head kind of defaults back to that kind of neutral pose, so it is kind of a shame. I kind of wish they gave a little stop on it so that you could, not so much a ratchet, but maybe like it would give it a little restriction on it, so if you were able to, you could stop it looking that way or stop it looking that way when you're rotating it. It would have been kind of cool. His legs are on a ball joint, so he can do the splits that much. He can't really kick forward too much, I don't think, and he gets a good bit of movement forward, I suppose. He has a single jointed knee with swivel, and they're super tight on this guy. He does have rocker ankles. He doesn't have peg holes on the bottom of his feet. Now, just beware that these neon knee pad things do tend to move. So they are a separate part, so they can move out of position. So sometimes it'll look like the knee is out of position, but it's not. It's just this piece has moved off its kind of default positioning. So it is something to note, but you do get some good rocking ankle positioning on his legs, so you get some great posability with this guy. Again, I was expecting him to be kind of top heavy because of this whole chunky body piece, but he's not too bad. I have seen worse figures that are incredibly top heavy, and he's kind of almost like his boots are kind of supposed to be counterweights for diving, so they kind of help with that in a respect as well. But we'll just flop his head back around. Again, he's a great figure. Unfortunately, because these are not available over here in Europe, or at least anywhere in Europe, I haven't seen them for sale. And anyone who has them for sale in Europe are looking for ridiculous amount of monies for them. I don't think they were sold at retail over here. I do not believe they were. I had to get mine, all the figures I've gotten so far, which is only 2, I've managed to pick up from Big Bad Toy Store. Unfortunately, they're long sold out now. And trying to get them on the secondary market is kind of painful, because you can find individual figures for quite a sum of money. You can find full sets of the figures, but I already have 2 of the same figures, so it's kind of getting duplicates is kind of annoying for me. I don't like doing it. But I could get a whole set and then sell on the two that to make the money back that I paid on the whole set, to make the money back on it. But I prefer to get them at the more reasonable retail cost price that they were originally intended. Now, I think these guys are around $15. I have a feeling they were about that. I could be wrong. I'd have to double check. I think they weren't. I don't think they were over the 20. I think might have been about, maybe they might have been just on the cusp of 20, maybe 19.99. But like anywhere that's selling them, third party or third party sellers are looking for nearly 30 to 40 plus per figure. And some of them, like, I think it's Big Slamu. Is it Big Slamu or is it Jab? It's one of those two. They're looking for like 60 to 70 for him for some reason, and I don't understand the reasoning behind it, because I would have thought he would have been just as widely available as any of the others. But that's just my little rant over. If you can get this figure and you're a fan of the franchise, he is pretty cool. Even if you're not a fan of the franchise and you get this figure, he would make for a great custom figure. For like, you'd have to pop off the head thing and see if you could put a proper head joint in and maybe disable the rotating mechanism. You could make a really cool villain, Masters of the Universe villain character for like Skeletor, kind of like not a rival for Merman, but someone that would be akin to Merman kind of type thing. He kind of would work in that kind of sense, I think. And he is a pretty cool looking character, and he is quite posable. So there's my video review for Dr. Piranoid. Hopefully you enjoyed this little review and a little bit of nostalgia for those who actually collected the original Street Sharks figures back in the day. As I said, I never really had any of them. I do remember seeing them on shelves. Excuse me, I'm still trying to get over this cold. The only vintage one I have is one of the motorbikes, which is like Ripster on a motorbike. He's built into the motorbike. He's not a separate figure. But if I do pick up some other ones of these, I might do reviews for them as well. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoy this review. And as always, please drop a like and follow my channel and help support the channel. It's much appreciated. And I hope you enjoy watching this. And I hope you have a great day from wherever you're watching this in the world. Cheers. Thanks for watching.